Ayo, welcome to Benchwarmers, a WOSO podcast, episode 41. 41. Do you have a 41 Allegra?
No, but I think 41's a dope number. I think that
It
would
is a
be
dope
like
number.
A cool number to have.
Do you know Hannah Anderson from Orlando Pride?
I do know Hannah Anderson. From
Yeah,
Orlando.
she is 41.
It's always the NWSL that has
Yeah,
wacky numbers.
they're the ones that pick the
Do you
40s.
remember when Cascarino had 69 for San Diego?
69.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, you're giving away the next 27 podcasts down. If anyone's there, they will know. We will be there. We will flash back to this moment. But I also believe Blackstad is also has been 41.
Has been?
But I
Okay.
don't know if she is 41 now, but she was, and that is I mean, generational that there's two people that actually have 41. What an interesting number. I mean, reverse 14 for all you Arsenal fans out there. Speaking of Arsenal, speaking of the WSL, I mean, the season is over, but this is the time you've all been waiting for. This is the generational podcast views. Like, we've been waiting for this moment for a very long time. We are going to start doing our end of season awards. So basically how ours will be split up, we'll be doing our 11s for each respective league. We'll do our player of the season. We'll do our goal of the season. We'll do some other things like an unsung hero or an underrated, or we'll add in things. We're just going to yap for you, and we're just going to scream at each other and tell each other what we think about has happened in our favorite leagues around the world, which I have been so excited for, because it's not really like prepped in that way. It's kind of improvised and vibes, and that's when I mean, you get the best of El Benchwarmers, a WOSO podcast, in my opinion. But we are going to start, obviously, where we always start, in England. This week we are going to do our WSL team of the season. Leggy, kick us off, go for it. And well, I mean, I'm just going to butt in when I hear some horrendousness, but I mean, you can just go crazy if you want, or you can justify whatever. Go ahead. This is all you.
Mine is very distinct from what will probably be my team of the season, but there are a lot of similarities. This is very specific to the WSL, very specific to what I think has been all-round performances, and I think that that's what both my team of the seasons are for this week. It's about time spent in the league and how much a player has played and that improvement, and ultimately what they've been able to provide for their team. I went for a very leggy ball formation, which I know Ben is going to be very upset about when I
go on.
I
Tell the
show
people.
him.
Tell the people what formation.
It's a
you've
formation
gone with.
that Mob doesn't even recognize. It's a 3-1.
It's called a free form. Did you go on free
It's
form
free
in
form.
Mob?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it is.
free form.
Yeah, of course it is.
It is a 3-1-4-2.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what I'm going to be arguing against. A 3-1-4-2. Yeah. This is, by the way, someone who canonically says that Emily Fox is her favorite player, and she's decided to go 3-1-4-2.
Without Emily Fox as well. And I think that a lot of my favorite players are missing from this particular team of the season. But
the Holy Trinity not in it.
Yeah, and I think it was important to recognize that there are players that are just very specific to their roles for their club, and I wanted to add them in also because I think that they've been underappreciated, but also because if we're going team of the season, it would be remiss not to add players that obviously won the league, but were also influential to their clubs doing well in the league. So I think we would both admit or both assume to say that Ndosia was the best goalkeeper in the league this season. I know that Hannah Hampton and Yamashita were both incredible respectively, but I do think the level that Ndosia had this season and the level that she's been able to reach for Brighton, what she's been able to bring as a goalkeeper that I don't think we've necessarily seen from her before. I think she's really elevated her game. I think
specifically like without the shot stopping. I know you're going to go into the shot stopping and her 1v1s and crazy, but like the ability to use the ball, distribute, and like that's the level that's gone up from what most people would consider the best keeper in the league ultimately.
And the statistics are very marginal. It's been a very good season for goalkeepers as a whole, and I think for the WSL we've seen some very distinct positions just be flooded with great players and great talent. Goalkeeper is not an exception to that. I think that, you know, the likes of Hampton, Tallis Joyce, like they have had really good save percentage rates. They've
Brosnan,
they've had fantastic saves per 90. 90, like these very specific statistics that apply to Ndosia and also others. But in terms of big moments in games, and the games I remember, including the ones played against Arsenal or particularly against the top four, Ndosia has
winning games on her own,
that has,
honestly,
yeah, exactly.
like. Yeah, saving points. I have struggled to see, like, obviously we are a bit late to the party in WSL Team of the Season in that sense, and we've seen others, and I don't think anyone has spoken past Ndosia in a way that's dismissing her accomplishments this season. Obviously, limited to not just the WSL, but if we take English football as a whole, her run to the FA Cup final has been sensational as well.
I agree. And look, if we're going to continue with the defensive cohort, Jade Rose, Myla Tissier, and Vilms are my three at the back.
Oh, I rate that. I do rate that. I feel bad that I've left Vilms out, to be honest.
I actually really thought that Vilms was going to be your pick because, in all honesty, you really got me on the Vilms train.
I did. I am still Vilms pilled.
Yeah,
I would take Vilms over Neve Charles.
I know you would. I know you would. But I think
100%.
Vilms is one of those players that I think has really stood out for me in ways that fullbacks do on a regular, where I see a real like high level of achievement both in defense and in attack. I think her chance creation and the way that she's able to run that right-hand side is quite exceptional for a team that is known to both concede a lot of goals but also really struggle with their forward play down the flanks. And so what Lynn Vilms has been able to do alongside the likes of, the Emily Foxes that I didn't include and the like is she's been able to hold her own in a team that isn't necessarily acclimatized to having a type of fullback like Lynn Vilms. She's very different to what we see from the usual Villa brand, but hopefully, and I think that she's going to be very important for Aston Villa's ascension, hopefully up the ladder as well.
Well, also defensively as well. I mean, that's probably the reason I've left her out, is that if you are a part of a back four that has copped a big heap of goals, like, I understand she is one side of it and she is not the bad side of it, obviously, but there is no, like, you are still a part of a defense that ships goals and did have a period of time where they shipped 20 in 5 games. Like, it is hard. Her job for the national team is very impressive, and the things she could do ahead of the ball is great. I still think her 1v1 defending needs some work, and her physical capabilities on the pitch do limit her ability to do that in terms of her, like, just one-to-one pace, marking, recovery speed is not 100%, but you don't need that when you can be a metronome. I think there is an argument to say that a development for her to get to a top 4 club would lead her to be a player more in the realm and style of like Alexander Arnold in the men's game than someone like Lucy Bronze in the women's game, where she's not trying to be like slow and dictator general. She's trying to be creative, and her creative aspects are what set her aside. Like, I think of it like Salma Basha isn't the fastest footballer, but her ability to create chances from the left side is sublime. And I think that Lynn Vilms at a top club, that if she just gets polished off, like, she's still quite a raw footballer. Like, if once she gets fully polished into the footballer she is going to be, I think I see a team being able to use her as that luxury player in that way.
And I think that goes to the other 2 picks that I've chosen. I think Myla Tissier has had another standout season for Manchester United, and I think that it would be remiss for us not to talk about how she's been just such a pillar and continues to be such a pillar for a team that still struggles defensively and still overly relies on her to clean up from the mistakes that happen in midfield, and for her to also create something when she steps into midfield. I think that she is underutilized for the national team, but for her club, she is one of the standout players and one of the most legacy defining players. I think that when we look back on Manchester United and the first 5 to 10 years since their inception, Myla Tissier will be, I think, remembered better than the likes of even Ella Toon, because of how she's been able to captain this side, how she's been able to hold herself in a defensive shape and in a defensive system that is still incredibly poor. This is not like, she's aside Jensen, Jensen has had an incredibly tough season, and so she's had to hold her own and has done so in a remarkable way. And I think it would be sad if we look back in, I said, 5 to 10 years and overlook her, because I still think that she's United's best player.
I don't agree with the Jensen slander. I think, I mean, I get the Chelsea hatred, and that's fair, and her history and her, like, yes, Jensen is not getting better season on season. We've seen the best of her, and there are glimpses and moments where she elevates Letitia, and Letitia is an understudy to that and is learning from one player who has been a part of legacy defining teams within the WSL. I don't think that their defense is specifically in the back half of the season warranting spots in their front half of the season was fantastic. You'd have Tullis halfway through the season. If we did a team of the season so far, I think Tullis Joyce, even Riviere would have a shout, and Maya Letitia would definitely have a shout for that central pairing. I just think that there has been a drop off, especially in big games, in big moments, and I mean it'll go into my team when I'm talking about. There's a specific theme to defenders that I have where it's about not just their ability to hold up teams, but their ability to have less impact when they're under adversity and when they're suffering. But I do understand that she's the general of that backline. She is the one that's going to be there for the next 10 years. She's
also the most consistent. I would never blame.
You build the defense out of her. I
don't believe that there's been a game where I've distinctly blamed Maya Letitia for any of United's faults in the back line. If anything, I've said that she was their one bright spot a lot of the time, and her assists from centre half have been exceptional. The way
her distribution from deep is fantastic.
Yeah. And honestly, she has all the attributes of a Leah Williamson regen. It's just she's not utilised enough for that particular role, especially for England. And as a result, I think that there has been a hindrance.
She's getting put it right back, mate.
Yeah, I think she's being hindered by the system and by the team around her. And
do you think she should move to France, Maya Letitia?
Yeah, I hope to see her away from Manchester United. I think she has so much more to offer. But if I go on to talk about Jade Rose, I really added Jade Rose on because I proved myself wrong, really. And
you didn't add her on. She was the first centre half on your list. There's no way.
She was the first centre half on my list in this particular starting 11. But I was very cautious going into this season and very intrigued about what this signing would be. I really thought she'd be behind someone like Alex Greenwood, but the way that she's been able to hold herself, the amount of games that she's played, the minutes, and there has been no drop-off. I think there maybe have been a couple of games where
the worst game was her first one.
Exactly.
Everyone made the comments. We did it. We did it straight away. You said it's not enough. AG needs to go. AG needs to go centrally. Rose made the mistake, and I mean that's the best time to make those mistakes. First game of the season, you show your hand. You're like, okay, well, it can only get better from here. And boy, did it get better. She is scary. Oh my God. She
acclimatized herself so well to the WSL in ways I haven't seen from a centre half. And the way that she's been able to, as I said, hold her own, she has been a great pillar in defence. And I think that alongside Kanak, who has been exceptional as well, they have had one of the standout centre-half pairings of the season alongside the likes of Rubin, Mace and Fernandez. The reason I haven't put either of those two in is because they didn't win the premiership. And I think it is important, as I mentioned earlier, to add players who did win the premiership. And I think that one of the reasons why you guys won the premiership is because your offensive contributions were just as strong as your attacking contributions.
I feel like I'm in the 80s right now. My friend's telling me I've won the premiership.
Yeah, you won the premiership.
Exactly.
But I think it's important to add someone who has played the amount of minutes that she has played at such a high level, not dropped off, and had the trust of her coach as well to grow in her position as a centre half. She's been able to step into midfield at times, invert at times. It's been a really, really solid season for Jade Rose, and she can only improve from here. I don't see a drop off from someone who's 23 years old.
No. I agree. I'll talk about her more when we get to mine, but I want to jump into this sham. So you got the 3. That's the 3 and the 4. It's not. I'm happy with it so far. Okay. I'm waiting for it to go all out the window. But continue.
I don't think this is out the window. I think that if you know me, then you know that there's no defense in my teams. This is not
defense in my teams.
This is a team that's outscoring.
It's Tuchel ball.
It's not Popovich ball. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
But I've gone as my holding Yui Hasegawa. I recognize that she's been playing a bit higher up this season with the likes of Sam Coffey coming in midway through, but Yui Hasegawa is probably the first name in my team alongside the likes of Bunny Shaw, because you can't have a team as a WSL top team if you don't have Yui Hasegawa in it. She is the best player, the best midfielder in the league. I think what she did this season and the exponential growth of her role in the City side has been quite underrated in the level that she's been able to bring. Her technical quality, her composure, her distribution, it's exceptional. I think that we went into the season expecting a lot from the likes of Mariona Caldente, and unfortunately she wasn't really able to reach those peaks that she had reached the season prior. But Yui Hasegawa has this consistency that's absolutely remarkable, and the amount of games she's played, we have to remember she was away for Japan winning an Asian Cup just to come back and reach the
She
exact
still has
same
the
level.
most minutes. She still
she
has.
still has the
She
most
still has
minutes.
by far, on average per game she played, has the most minutes. She didn't miss a second of football. But like everyone, you have City fans on Twitter going like, "We need to arrest her. She's going to die." It's like, guys, she's fine. She's fine. She's cooking everyone. Is there a single moment on the half turn you see her like breathing heavy? Like no, like she's always in space. Every time I watch Manchester City, my team, with someone new, I say that see the girl who's in space. Just watch her. Just watch her. See what happens when you're like if you want to see like football in a different space that you you need to learn to understand the game. I would show people clips of Hasegawa and they'd be like, why don't they go near her? And I'll be like, because she's moving faster than them, but at a slower speed. Like it's a weird sentence to say, right? Because she's not moving fast. She's just moving all the time and no one can keep up with her. No one wants to spin her. No one wants to press her, and they don't give the luxury because she can't, you can't do it to her. We've seen what happens when she beats people on the half term, and it's usually a goal, and her creative outlet with Coffee behind. I think Coffee will be like your early shout next year for team of the season in that way, where you're like, okay, she's going to lock down the fort so that we can go further forward, and we're going to gel that partnership for next season. But Hasegawa, third year in a row voted in the PFA Players top 5. She's the only player, I believe, who's done 3 in a row, for Man City at least. I don't know if it's total, but I would assume Viv has probably done it for Arsenal. But this is the first player for Manchester City who's done it, and you know what? That makes total sense.
And I think it's fair to say Yui Hasegawa is your favorite player's favorite player. I think that she is so loved, and I think rightfully so. I think that she's so important.
Except
for
by
Manchester
Chelsea.
City.
Chelsea fans don't like
Chelsea
her.
fans,
I will
obviously,
say
yeah.
that.
Chelsea
They
fans
go
will
all
push her
they go
over
all
it.
Cuthbert. Yeah, they go all Cuthbert. Like, and you know what? Cuthbert, even I was saying earlier in the year, I would say I put Cuthbert ahead of her, but season for season, pound for pound, this is the first year where you can properly say like Yui Hasegawa has had a better season than Erin Cuthbert. And this is the first season where you can, after the win and the double, you can say she is better than Cuthbert. She has shown a level that Cuthbert has, but Cuthbert is not showing the level she had now. And it's a current thing. It's not really one is better than the other. It's just two world-class midfielders, metronomic midfielders in two pretty impressive teams over the course of the last 3 seasons.
And just in front of Yui Hasegawa in this kind of two pivot situation as both 10s,
Pivot.
Russo and Park.
Pivot, yeah. But yeah, I tell me about this season where Russo played in the 8 and she
Yes.
was just this amazing player, yeah.
So obviously Russo didn't play in the 8, but she did play in a 10 for a majority of this season in the WSL. And I think I had to respect the second in the Golden Boot. I had to respect Arsenal's probably best player of the season. And I really had to showcase her alongside someone like Jess Park, because I think both players have shown a level difference in midfield. One, most of all being that they have detached themselves from the traditional style of midfielder that we've seen in the WSL. They're not traditional 10s and they're not traditional false 9s. They're a kind of mix of both. And what Russo's been able to do particularly is being able to create something of a legacy in that midfield. I think that she is creating what I would say is the new type of midfielder that Arsenal are looking for. I think she's kind of fitting that mold of a creative force, but also a goal force. And I think that her technical ability has only shone this season. The way she's been holding up the ball for Stina right in front of her has been exceptional, and her goals are exceptional. Playing further back in behind someone like Stina and still getting double digits, it's exceptional. Her goal contributions, as I said earlier, were great, especially in big moments. Jess Park equally. I think my only criticism of Jess Park is obviously she hasn't been able to do it against the big teams ahead of her, the Chelseas, the Arsenals, and the Cities. She has not been able to get goal contributions. But I think it would be unfair to say that this has been a season of real improvement for Jess Park, coming off the back of what was a great season for City, but an underutilized Jess Park for a lot of seasons at City. And to come in at Manchester United and have the season that she's had, she's been one of their best players, regardless of what she's been able to do for them in those big moments. For them to continue to be fourth and continue to plateau in that way, I can't really blame her. So her and Russo, I think it's a great force of 10. There's no defense, as I said. This is just true attackers who I think have been exceptional, and I wanted to showcase in midfield.
I mean, I do agree that both of them need to be in there. It's just how you fit them in, really, and naturally. I mean, I just think you can do it however you want. I guess that's fine. I guess picking the best 11 players versus a team of the season is the argument here. Yeah. And we will see it as we go through. I think like it is like, I don't know, if you were playing a 4-3-3 as textbook team of the year, you don't have one of Russo or Miedema. And I understand that. And I think I think naturally obviously I think you would put Russo in the 10 and I'd probably put Miedema in the 10 and that's fine. But I think we have the luxury here to change formations and be able to recognize both to be in respective sides. But we will work that out as we go.
And that's why I think I put my two fullbacks as just basically wingers. I put Olivia Smith as Fagino. There's no defense.
Smith and Fagino going up and down. Just doing the magic. Wow, classic. Unreal.
I think this is a very interesting fullback / winger situation. I think one has been absolutely exceptional and has really received her praise in a way that has really put her in a meteoric rise to one of the best wingers in the world. And the other one has been quite an underrated player. And I think Olivia Smith has had an exceptional season, and it's a real breakout season for her at a big club. But Fagino has been one of the most consistent players in the WSL. She has been exceptional on that right-hand side. And I think that a lot of people will overlook her because you have the likes of Lauren Hemp, Bunny Shaw, Viv Miedema in that attacking lineup. And Fagino was just there. And I think Carolyn kind of took that spotlight away from her when she went on that fantastic run of 4 or 5 games just after the year passed. And I think Fagino has been there. She has done it. She's had important goals, and she has really centered herself in between the likes of that midfield and that forward line to be a bridge between the two on that flank, which is an exceptionally hard thing to do when you have people constantly attacking you down the flanks. I mean, it's been the story of City. No one can penetrate your spine, but it's the way that they attack your flanks. And Fagino has been exceptional at coming back and assisting that right-hand side and really holding herself as both an attacking force but also a defensive force. I think you would agree as well. I think she's been exceptional.
Yeah. Fagino is the hardest player. Like the Fagino Carolyn is like, for me, is just a horrible choice as a concept. I mean, that's why we'll get to my formation eventually and how I've managed to thread a semblance of something together that I think needs to recognize the players who've done better more consistently or better as not fringes. And I think that's the problem, is when you have two players who are so good competing for the same position, it's hard to put them over players who've done it like undoubtedly in their respective teams. And Fagino, I feel like, has had an amazing start, glimpses and moments, and every time she gets the moments, you think to yourself, oh, she should be playing more. She does it all the time. She does it every time she comes on. Her clinical, her shot, expected goals versus her actual output is immaculate, as well as Carolyn's. And Carolyn, I think, was more like, had the injury, came back, exponential spike in form, and then plateaued off at the end, and then obviously was threaded into the 10 due to all the Viv situation, and I didn't really like that. But again, it's not like she didn't have output in the 10, it's just a different Carolyn. I think being able to choose between the two of them is just valuing what you prefer. If you prefer the killer instinct, the ability to match win on your own, I'd probably lean towards Carolyn. But if you're going with who's going to get you an 8 out of 10 performance week in, week out, it's Fagino. Fagino does that time and time again. Even in games where we are poor, you can really just say Fagino on the outside makes space for herself, gets separation, not with necessarily like vehement amount of speed. Like, it's just timing and breaks and clinicalness that not many other wingers possess in this league, especially on the right side.
And I think that the only other winger probably is Alyssa Thompson. And the reason I didn't pick her is I think it's important to say that she had a great first season, but there is obviously that Arsenal bias in me. And I also didn't see anything that was exceptional from Alyssa Thompson that I hadn't seen previous. I think that she'd done a very good job in acclimatizing herself to the WSL. And I think by the end of the season, she was one of the better wingers in the league. And I think she'd even surpassed the likes of, the Manchester Uniteds and the likes and even in her own team in those wingers like JRK. But I think in terms of what I look for in a winger is versatility, and that's why I've picked Olivia Smith. I mean, the adaptation of Olivia Smith this season, the utility of a player to go from the 9 to the 10 to the wing, either wing if you like, has been something that has not only justified her price tag, but has meant that this is a player that could stay with us for 5-10 years and could have different roles, different journeys with whatever position she sticks with. And Renee can rely upon her for any role. If we have an injury in midfield, she can come on. If we have an injury in attack, she can come on. But it's the role she played on the wing. It's the continuous dangerous attack. It's from the first game where she started against LCL and we saw that exceptional flair. She brings
the tattoo magic.
The tattoo magic. It's a level of flair and it's a level of maturity as well from a 21-year-old that you can definitely praise Liverpool because they made her, they brought her to this league and really
shout out Matt Beard, R.I.P.
Shout out Matt Beard, but it's what she's done at Arsenal and it's the way that she's been able to take on this project and take on what we want to do and we saw it specifically in the WSL and that's why I'd put her in the WSL team of the season, but it's across all competitions and I think it's only fair to add her in there.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. It's hard to leave out a winger that is so aggressively talented. I mean, if I was a WSL scout, I would leave Europe alone and fly to Canada because every time it seems like we get the next big thing coming out of Canada, they're the top dogs. Like they really just do produce world-class footballers now, and it's because their structure of the university model into the USL, into the NWSL is a crazy pathway that works and is conducive to successful footballers and successful careers as well. And I mean, look, I think having them as left winger and right winger in a 4-3-3 is great. As up and down, I don't know. Honestly, I would love to put your team right now into like one of those like those algorithm things, the 20, like the new thing that's like the 22-0 stuff. Like I would love to see like in the WSL, it would be like 18-5, and you just lose games to like Brighton.
Get the best goals and some of the best attacking passages.
You're going to score 90. You're going to score 90 goals in a season, but you're going to concede you're going to concede more than Arroyo did this season.
Yeah, it's pure ideological football. I mean, there is no defense here. I mean, and that's why
it's patiki taka
I also think that it's unfair to say that these two players can't assist in defense because we've seen it. Virginia specifically.
I mean, yes, they do. It's just up and down is horrendous.
I think that both of them could do it. I think both of them could do it, especially with the likes of Vilnius.
Yeah, but hold on. Think about who Smith had behind her, and think about who Ficino had behind her.
Yeah.
Like. It's not like they had scrubby fullbacks. They had arguably the two best fullbacks in the league.
I also think that Russo and Park could do a defensive job as well. This is a malleable formation.
I'm sure. And then who have you got up front next to? I mean, it's a 3-1-4-2, right? So Bunny, who's next to Bunny? Let's be real.
It's Bunny and it's Viv. Champions attacking duo. This is definitely a pick to pay homage to what has been an exceptional season for Manchester City on the attacking front. Bunny Shaw, obviously the player
who needs Henri and Bergkamp when you've got
exactly.
Miedema, Bunny.
Exactly. And I think that's for once, I actually think that that's an apt description because I think that there is a natural attacker there, a natural striker in Bunny Shaw, and a lot of the conversation around Viv Miedema is where were we going to fit her? What was the space going to look like? What was going to happen? And what happened was a real communication style between the two that lended themselves to goals, and more goals. And I think that we saw glimpses of that with the Stina and Russo pairing, but not to the extent that we saw with the Viv and the Bunny pairing. I mean, so many goals with each other contributing. Bunny Shaw playing more of a goal contributing role as well. I think that she has started, and I hope to see more of her being also a facilitator as much as the receiver. But Miedema, I mean, this has been one of the more exceptional seasons for Miedema, and that's coming from a
And that's
person who watched
crazy.
her,
That's a crazy thing to
quote
say, and
unquote
it's
from-
fact, and it's just straight up fact. Yeah.
And
Oh
and
my
I mean,
God.
Viv Miedema is a player that's constantly evolving and constantly undermining the haters, really. I mean, there are so many people who would have said that, Miedema's too slow, the injury really killed her off. How is she going to fit in with Bunny? It has to
Washed.
be one or the
They
other.
called her washed.
Yeah, they called her washed.
I mean, Genius has called her a moment's player.
Yeah, true.
That was the first viral video of L Benchwarmers. I said that she is a moments player. I did say the attitude was off, and I was right. I'm sorry,
I don't
I'm still
think you
right
were
about
right.
the
I
attitude
don't
was
think that
right.
you were right
But
at all.
I mean, it showed later on in the season. I think for the spiteful games, for the rivalries, and the smiling started coming out. The Viv smile, even the City PR was taking the piss out of her, saying like, "Oh, it's good when Viv is smiling like this," and it's like, well, like you could see that the team was gelling with her. And again, the best quality I can say about Viv, regardless of her own personal ability, which is nearly second to none, I would say in that realm, is the fact of how easy she makes the game for everyone else. Like
And that's
there is
it, yeah.
just genuine moments of magic for Bunny Shaw, Carol, and Lauren Hemp, who we haven't even mentioned as one of the standout wingers this season, that are just facilitated by Bunny's left foot, right foot, the outside of the foot, her head, her like it's just unbelievable the amount of angles she can facilitate, her ability to play with her back to goal. She's scarily strong for a player who doesn't come across as like this like, she's not Bunny behemoth, but she's hard to knock off the ball. She's hard to beat
She's
in the
very
air.
pressure resistant.
She's hard, and she's not slow either. Like there is not many. She's a bit of this unicorn footballer that we've just had the blissful like privilege to watch week in, week out in the WSL, and she just fucks everyone up. It's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. There are games where she's not like there are players that get the respect of like they're running up and down. Like Carolyn has been getting the respect this season, but she works like a dog. And then there are games where Miedema's just walking in the middle of the pitch, and you're like, everyone knows why she's walking, and it's because something's about to happen. And then when it happens, then the jets turn on. It's like she's so calculated, and I think that's what this season has been. Is like not Viv trying to reclaim a spot, not Viv trying to like prove anyone wrong. It's just been calculated in a way that's conducive to the success of a football club that has been tested and tried and gone through all the tribulations of what it means to be close to victory. And then Miedema is that needle who changed the scale.
Yeah. And that's my team. I have
Yeah.
nothing
Any
really much
manager
else.
of the season?
Manager of the season, that I think it's pretty easy. I think it's Andre Yegler.
The Yeg, AJ Eggs, baby.
I think he's just been he's done so well to provide such stability and positivity for this side. You've mentioned his halftime talks, his pre-game talks, his post-match talks. They are just filled with aspiration and aura, sure. But
AJ Aura.
the way, I mean, it's one of the best seasons. And to be fair, we've seen a lot of really good debut seasons in the last 5 years of the WSL. But this one, I think specifically, tipping Chelsea after X amount of years, the first team to do it, and really solidifying a style of football for the City side that isn't wholly dependent on one player, isn't wholly dependent on one system, but is very adaptable and changes with the expectation or the style of football that they're coming up against. And yeah, I mean, this team will not win the league. I can tell you very much this starting 11 will not win the league, but it will give you very, very fun moments.
It will give you aura. If
If
Yeglert is managing it, the combinations they're crazy. We hunt the ball. It will be crazy. I will go into my team. Yeah. I am giving you a 4-2-2. I'm going narrow. I'm going narrow to respect. I'm going narrow. Yeah, I'm going narrow to respect mainly the players that need to be in rather than the players that I'd want to be in. And I think it's harsh on myself, but I do think it's the reality of the situation that I can't. Like, I haven't been that harsh in that way. Like, there are players I'm just going to put in, and that's the accepting the fact. But specifically the front, I think the front in a way is recognizing game for game of who was the most important players in the best teams. And I think that's where I feel sad, where like Ndosia is the only player outside of the top three that I have, and it's because she is the best goalie this season. I nearly put Yama in. I was very close, and I could easily put Yama in, and no one would bat an eye, and no one would even go City bias, even though it is City bias. But like, they've both gotten exponentially better. It's just one's doing it for a side where they cop more shots than the other. And that's why I wouldn't even put, like, I don't know, we didn't even mention Annika Borba and her improvement this season and the things she did while DVD was out. And then Brosnan, as I mentioned, her goals prevented is insane. Like, you can really make an argument for a lot of goalkeepers. Elena Lette, another one who's had a standout season. There are just... It is probably the most stacked position in the league in that realm. Right back, I've gone with Kirsten Kasperai. I mean, it's kind of obvious. 5 Moonbeam Barclayses. Her start to the season was absolutely insane. It's not just her stat padding against the likes of Tottenham and LCL. It's doing it in Manchester derbies, both sides. It's doing it in the Arsenal game where she made McCabe made McCabe the best left back in the world, ultimately not able to handle her and getting out the back of her and getting on the overlap. Her football IQ has improved miraculously. I think she took the Euros incredibly personally in terms of how her defensive capacities were and made it her goal to be truly respected in the 1v1 aspect, and she's gotten so much better at that. And it showed in the final of the FA Cup. It showed in big matches, the 5-1 against Chelsea. Like, there are just moments of her. Everyone knows her attacking ability. It's just her defensive ability has gotten better. Jade Rose, we've already spoken about, but like, I mean, just the speed, the power. I mean, I always think of like the season in like snapshots, and like, I think it's not just it's your body of work and how consistent you are, but like, sometimes you just need a memorable moment. And I think about her body. I forgot who she bodied off the ball, and then got. I think it was someone at Arsenal. No, she had a head knock, and she had that bruise on her face. And like, I think about her just playing the game, the rest of the game with this massive like bruise on her face, and it's just like she would run through a brick wall for Yeglerts, and didn't put a foot wrong bar the first game. And I absolutely adore her. My Harvard goat, my Toronto goat. Like, just like, he's nailed on as a starter for Canada in a team where they have stocks at centre half. Like, this is a team that, like, you've got Kadisha Buchanan, you've got Gilles, but it's who's next to Jade Rose. That's the question, and that's how good she is. I have gone Steph Catley. I've actually gone Steph Catley at centre half, and I think it's because I have to respect the fact that Arsenal Football Club did not concede many goals this season, and the times that you did concede goals this season were moments where I think there are pockets of this season where she just didn't play. She only played 17 of 22, 16 of 22. And I think the 6 where she didn't, I would love to know the record in those games, especially like clean sheet level. But I just think that the reason you guys were unbelievable last year was because of her, and the steadiness of this season dissipated when she didn't play. And I think the consistency is insane. I did have Kanak originally. I was obviously going to just like shield my back four, and that's obviously fair. But I have gone with a little bit of a thing, and I could have even put Wubben Moy, who's been leaps and bounds improved on what she was compared to Catley. And I do agree with that's fair. And I did have Wubben Moy in there for a second as well. But then I thought to myself, the theme I have for my defenders is that when they make a mistake. Is it costly? Is it really, really big? And the difference is that when Wubbenmoy makes a mistake, it is a big deal. When Kanak makes a mistake, it is a big deal. Those are the games we lost, the games we struggled.
Well, Jade Rose as well.
No, Jade Rose, yes, but makes a lot less mistakes and has the ability to recover on it in a way that's conducive to the physicality, right? You can have those blunders if you can recover fast enough. It's just, for me, Catley didn't make many mistakes. I can't recall these big moments. Like, I don't know. For me, I just think, like, next season, she's not going to play left back for you just because McCabe is gone. I don't think that's the plan. I think you have Hines, you have Smiller, you have Emily Fox, you have Ona Battier now. Like, she's going to play centre half with Katie Reid or Leah Williamson. It's not going to be, who's going to play with Leah Williamson? It's who's going to play with Steph Catley. And I understand that it's not. Yes, it's maybe this isn't tethered to like team of the season. She hasn't had the best season she's ever had, but it shows how important she has been to arguably what is widely considered the best defensive unit in the league, regardless of the fact that you didn't win it. But that's why I have Katters there. Also, I actually really just think she just has had really good moments this season. This is
a dig at all those Australian commentators who want her at left back, basically.
Yeah, exactly right. My vice captain finisher, but left back, I have gone Alex Greenwood. I mean, it probably would have been McCabe if we didn't win that FA Cup. Yeah, it would have been McCabe if she didn't have that performance in the FA Cup final. And I know that's weird to say, but like the reality is that it is close. The chance creation, like everyone's going to say Katie's better further forward. Look at the chance creation stats. Look at who created more chances this season from the left side. Look at who made better progressive stats. It's all Alex Greenwood. Yes, Alex Greenwood is a better lockdown defender from the centre. And no City fan is going to disagree, but this is the first season where I'm actually like, you know what? Like maybe Serena did understand why she was a left back. Maybe there was something to it, and it takes time to gel into a new position and work out what you want. I wonder what happens with Jeglerts and how she uses her across the back four. Also, her versatility lends itself to being in this team even more. Like if you really want to thread in McCabe, you could throw AG at centre half, but I don't think she spent enough time at centre half this season to put her in the WSL team of the season. But I think AG has to be there. Big games, big crosses. It still takes our corners from our right side with her left foot. No one I'd rather have as my left foot than AG, my goat. But the midfield too. I mean, we had Caspi on the right. We have Yui Hasagawa. We've done the Yui thing. Everyone knows how good Yui is. No one needs another 20 minutes of me doing that. I have my only Chelsea player in this mix. Yes, I do think it's interesting to have Chelsea, despite the fact that they haven't had the best season. But I do think Erin Cuthbert's level hasn't necessarily dropped that much. Personally, I did think about it, and I actually nearly had Caldente. I actually initially did have Caldente because I hate how high the standards of Arsenal fans have for her, where people think that she's had this bad season. Namely, yes, I am around you, and you talk about how I say Mariona was really good, and you're like, what do you mean? She was shit. And I was like, what are we watching? Like, you're like, she was bad compared to last year. I'm like, yes, she was the second best player in the world last year. I understand that. But also she was playing a new role. And I don't know, I'm kind of convincing myself now. Like, she was in a new role, took it up, played this metronomic role, which I don't have Mariona Caldente penned in for, especially without who she's playing alongside with. And that's probably why I edged towards Cuthbert. And that's why I justified it, is that Erin Cuthbert was playing with Kira Walsh, who I would say is probably had her worst season in Chelsea colours in a long time, in my opinion. I think she is usually a nailed in, lock in, like team of the season player. Kira Walsh is usually in the midfield three, and Cuthbert, I think, is like holding down the fort, winning games on there. I think that cup was Erin Cuthbert's winnings. Like, that is her doing that. And I think if there's someone who personifies the Chelsea that is going to, in my opinion, continue to be a scary threat in England, it's going to be her. And it's going to be her with the tenacity she had in the start of this season. It's going to be Walsh getting back to the best of her abilities. But I still think Cuthbert, there are not many games where I look back and I go, oh, okay, well, I mean, like she just puts the team on her back in ways that Walsh can't. She puts the team on her back in ways that Mariona didn't really this season. And that's what I think Arsenal fans do get at, is that Mariona was running the show last year, and this year it wasn't her show. It was the 2 10s I have in my team. So so if I'm going that 4-2-2, I'm going Yui and Cuthbert, and then in the 2 10s, it's the 2 10s, right? It's Miedema and AR23. Bang, bang, bang. She is a killer. I mean, Alessia Russo and Miedema are both players who can. I think if Alessia Russo was in the City system playing the bunny role, she'd score 25 goals. And if Miedema was in the Arsenal system, she was playing in the 10, she'd get the same output, if not better, in red. And I'm sure Arsenal fans would love that too. But they are just two players who get told where they're going to play next year, and they go, okay, let's cook. And it's unbelievable how good they are at that, and the ability to create, and just see Viv do it at a bit older of an age is why I think it's so much more impressive when she's such a nailed on, like, born killer up front. But the front two, you're going to find this funny because I have got a player out of position, but I have got Bunny Shaw, obviously. I mean, I will do my little due diligence on Bunny Shaw. 3 times in a row, most goals in a season, player of the season, pretty much unanimously. If we had a unanimous award, I think we are going to talk about this season as Bunny Shaw's season. Yeah. This is no one else's season other than Jägert's and Bunny Shaw. And it's I told you about Jade Rose. I told you about Miedema. I can think of moments where Russo's done some good celebrations and you have a few snapshots. All the snapshots of Bunny Shaw headering the ball, all the snapshots of her running up to the Joey or the Etihad and standing in front of the crowd going, like, Look who you're watching. Look who runs your game right now. Look who is the best player in the league. It's me. And there's not many players who command that level of respect. And she is that. And she, like, again, I've been very adamant about the fact that I don't think she will be top 10 in the Ballon d'Or because of the lack of European football, the lack of international capability to make a mark in that way, which is sad, and that's the reality of the situation. And obviously, specifically with Jamaica, I mean, there's a lot of stuff coming out now about the lack of funding and support and fighting against it for the sake of the women's team developing. Because, look, if Bunny Shaw is there, it means that there's more in this country that needs to be taken and needs to be understood as a respectful footballing nation. But the thing with Bunny Shaw that is, like, truly remarkable is that, like, she's done it this year all year. She's had a full season to do it properly. There are things in her game that have gotten better. Her hold-up play, the dribbling, her ability to dribble around players. I think about that goal. I think it was LCL and Villa. No, it was Villa. The one where she dribbled her and dropped the defender. I'm like, you're moving like Miedema and you're not the same size. And she is a killer. And then this is a bit of a foreshadowy pick, but I have got Liv Smith. I've got her in the 9, mainly because of what she did to us in the 9. Yeah. That's part of it. Secondly, I would love to see Smith and Bunny in a front 2 together. I think that would be perfect. That's like interplay. Like, imagine the fastest, most aggressive, explosive striker with the most commanding hold-up striker. I think that's amazing. But I think the reason I have Smith in the 9 is because that's where I think she's going to play a little bit more this season coming up. I think
that's interesting.
Yes, I think that she's very good on the wing. Yes, I think her 1v1 work is great. I actually think her best attribute is her finishing. I think her shots, I actually don't think she took enough shots this year, and that's a compliment. That's a compliment to her shooting ability, not a criticism to Sledgers, who has Russo and Stina to manage. But Russo and Stina are one type of football that you will play, specifically in the league. I see it happening a lot, and you used it in the Champo this year, and yes, you didn't get to the same heights as last year, but I genuinely think that Liv Smith has a part to play next year in you accelerating. And she had a part to play in this year at you accelerating above Chelsea this season. And regardless of you finishing in similar spots, it doesn't it's a different season. It's a different understanding of what Arsenal are to become. And Renee has made a precedent out of the speed, the physicality, the transitional ball that Arsenal are going to play, which is very fun, pulsating, exciting football that, I mean, God forbid your men tried to play. Oh my God. But Ona Battier is going to play better, in my opinion, with players like Liv Smith running in behind than Stina Blackstenius running in behind. And to be fair, it could be together. It could be Stina plays the role of Bunny in my team, and you have that, and then Russo, and then Ona comes out for the side, and you play a more narrow game with your with your wide players, Fox, and you trust your fullbacks to go up and down and up and down. You get a bit of leggy ball that you love, and you don't. Who needs the wingers? You've gotten rid of Mead. You haven't signed Searchy yet. You haven't put the numbers in for Salma. We'll get to that conversation at some point, but that's what I mean by, like, I can see the narrow play with, instead of trying to make Stina and Russo two players that aren't necessarily the fastest and most explosive work together up front in the 9, play Russo behind two different archetypes of a 9 killer, and then you have different outlets to goal that are facilitated by fullbacks that are arguably two of the best in the world.
That's so fascinating. I guess the good thing about our Arsenal system is that we do swap and change a lot, and in the middle of a game, 60th minute, someone can come on and completely change it, and that is usually someone like an Olivia Smith, and unfortunately hasn't been someone like
Smiller.
a Chloe. It hasn't been someone like a Chloe Kelly, but it has been someone like a Smiller as well. I don't know. I think that her best game for the season was against your lot. But that was at a very high level and a very unique.
Oh, I mean, her best games were in Europe. I actually think that. I think her best game was in
the Lyon game where she
Lyon. She scored. That was it. Lyon. I'm thinking of Lyon, the second goal. Yes, not Chelsea. It's the Lyon game. Smith showed her level in the Champions League and how that explosive nature is catered to European ball. AJ Eggs, I mean, how many songs do I have to make? Like, I'm not making songs for any other manager in the league. But that is all I have for my 11. Yes, I left out Lauren Hemp. Yes, there are names we left out. I left out all our wingers, all our deadly wingers.
Fair.
Yeah,
and
fair. You know what? It's about keeping like I can't just put one winger on one side. You have to go both ways. And like I didn't feel comfortable leaving Alessia Russo or Miedemar out. So you do have to just narrow down the winger options, and you can decide which ones could go forward. I can't see Hempo in the 9. I can't see Fuji in the 9. We tried Kero in the 9. It did not work. It's there are players that are unsung. There are players that just don't get the noms, and there are honourable mentions, and that's what happens. But we obviously we did player of the season. We both, I assume we both think it's Bunny Shaw, and that's fair. But if we were going like an unsung hero, a player that wouldn't get a nom, wouldn't be in the Barclays player of the season, not Viv. Obviously, Viv didn't get a nomination, but I'm talking like a player that would be an outfield shout for, like, you know what, she could get a nom next year. She's on the fringes from getting a nom next year, and she deserves a shout out this year for what her next year can be.
Okay, mine is easily for Gino. I mentioned it earlier. I mean, I think she's the most underrated player. I think she's the most underrated prospect in a winger that we've seen in the WSL. I think that she could go from what we saw of this season of 8 goal contributions to somewhere along the lines of 15 to 20. I think that she could have a massive explosive season in Europe. I think without the disruption of an Asian Cup, I think she could just get on a roll and continue to grow and build. And I think it only helps that she has such attacking prowess in front of her, but also the security behind her to do what she has to do. I think she is one of the greatest, as I say, greatest prospects, and I think that she can really build into a big Lauren Hemp-esque season that we've seen from the likes of City, because City are just so good with building players on the flanks.
My unsung hero, is a City player, is not really unsung. I made a song about her very quickly in this season, but in terms of the realms of what I consider to be unsung, I would say it's Iman Bene. I think Iman Bene is just a footballer that has, again, I talk about the season in snapshots. The amount of snapshots this girl has for a player that was widely considered like like again, like Jade Rose, it's like, oh, what are we actually signing? What are we actually getting here? What is the history that allows us to get this player? And we got her before the Euros. I made a joke about it to you. I was like, oh, we're gonna get one of these Swiss ballers because we watched a few games of them before the Euros. I was like, it's either Yvelge or her, and we got her because we needed the right back cover for Caspi. And there were games where I'm watching and I think like I said it early on, I said she should be starting for us. Like she should be starting while Kero is out, and Fujino is doing her thing but needs a rest and needs a break. It's Iman Bene. It's the passes she was making. I think about the Brighton game we lost. She came on, she did the magic. The game against Chelsea in the FA Cup, she comes on, she did the magic. The game against Arsenal, she comes on, she did the magic. Like, it's crazy the impact she's had on our season, despite not having necessarily the amount of minutes that other players had. And like, I don't know, I do think that with Europe, with the amount of competitions we have, she will play a way bigger role in specifically the FA Cup, specifically WSL games that we need to win after we've just played midweek against a titan of a club. And she honestly could score a goal playing 15 minutes at the end of a Bayern game and nick a goal back or equalise or save us a point in the Champions League group stages, because that's what Iman Bene is all about.
I think this is where this is my first kind of butting heads with you will be, because I think Iman Benny has had a fine season. I don't think in the WSL she shone brightly outside of a couple of moments, and I think a moment's player is not a unsung hero or a player that's underrated. I think that it's just a player that is 19 years old and has a lot more to grow, and I think we've seen her capability in the FA Cup. She has 5 assists. We have seen her stuff in the Conti Cup as well, 3 assists. She can do it in knockout football, and that's fantastic. But
but Champions League is knockout football.
I mean, but that's Europe.
Yeah.
It's different. But I think
of course
minutes,
it is different. It is different. But I think for her, it's going to be the same. She's going to treat the European games like it's knockout football.
I do. I just don't think this is the season where you say underrated. I think.
Yeah, I mean, that being said, I'm not to compare her with a baller and a half of a player like this, but there are players that do just explode at a younger age before they're supposed to. And I think about I don't know. Yeah, I was literally about to say Salma Paralluelo, the explosive nature of the way Iman Bene plays. The physicality of her football is actually similar in a lot of ways to Salma Paralluelo. And I think I don't feel
example.
I mean, Esme Broots is better at the finishing aspects. I think she's better. Her natural intuition is better. I think Iman Bene is. I mean, yes, I'm talking more about the physical aspects than I am about like the nature of the footballer. I guess it's more, and also like the coming onto the scene and doing it the way she could do it. That's how I see it. I guess it's more of like a fortune teller pick than it is an unsung. I mean, there's a lot of if I'm gonna pick another player that could be unsung that isn't like a 19-year-old prospect, I would go like Kankovic. I would go a player in that Brighton midfield, Simons or Kankovic. Spin the wheel on a Brighton midfielder. I mean, Ruby Mace. I mean, I think she's so sung. I think everyone sings about Ruby Mace. Yeah, exactly. It helps, but I think Kankovic has been wildly, criminally underrated this whole season. Never gets her physical presence in midfield and the things she can do to lock out defenders. Yes, she gets the ball off better players and gives it to better players, but that is Vidosic ball. That is having the players like that are world class, like Fran Kirby, in your lineup to be able to thread the ball to, and then being able to play wide to players like. I mean, a player that definitely needs their flowers in this team. I mean, if we're talking about Brighton as a whole as an unsung hero and their ability to, I don't know, facilitate ultimately a giant slayer badge of what they really are. I mean, Kiko Seika, I mean, what a fucking player that, I mean, has been sung about quite a bit, but also I don't know, there's sometimes I think to myself, are we just sleeping on a player that's really just good enough to play for a top side in the WSL?
100%, and I think that you look at her national team form, you look at the form for the club, and there's no difference. She is so impactful. She is so determined to drag her team into that final third and make whatever she can. I think that Brighton have been that side that there are just standout players that are going to be the pillar of that season, and I think Seike is one of them, Fran Kirby, Nadosia. These are just really, really big players for this now becoming big club in the WSL. And I think Kiko Seike will start to create a path for bigger players to come in. And it's all because of her and what she's been able to do this season. And even seasons prior, I think she's had a fantastic run with Brighton.
Yeah, and I think about even that goal against City where she just packed in Yamashita.
It's so funny. People were so surprised with that goal. Like, it's like we'd never seen that before from Seike.
Just watch Seike. Yeah, she packs in everyone. She's not just a flat track bully, and she can do it to anyone. But I mean, speaking of goals, we are going to move to goal of the season in the WSL. Obviously, we saw Barclays' pick for, I don't know if it's fan voted or it's a mixture of both, and like there's like a panel and a lineup, but I believe Kirsty Hanston. There's no way. There's no way it was fan voted if Kirsty Hanston won it for that strike. I think it's a good strike. I think it's a good goal. Is it goal of the season? Absolutely not. I'm sorry. It's just not. Like this is Riley McGree all over again. This is that Salah goal that everyone watches and goes, What are we doing here?
The Sonny Puskas goal.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, there is something about the aesthetic of that goal that is very impressive. Fair. But it isn't the best goal of the season. You're right. It isn't Puskas. I mean, I don't know. Everyone rates goals differently. That's why I kind of love football in that way, is that we all have our own realm of what we consider like a better goal than others that is pure shit. Like there is no legitimacy to it. But Leggy, I have to ask, what is your goal of the season?
I have a distinct goal of the season, despite one being very close to being goal of the season. I have Olivia Smith versus Liverpool. I just love everything about
the first game, like that
was against LCL.
Oh, no, that's LCL. That's the tattoo goal. Sorry, apologies.
She would never tattoo a goal against Liverpool on her body. I don't think she respects them too much. I think the LCL goal is fantastic, and I think I love the reception of that goal. I think Arsenal fans, men's Arsenal fans, women's Arsenal fans could collectively come together and be like, that's what we want from Arsenal. That is the most Arsenal thing that we can have at the Emirates on the first game of the season. But the goal against Liverpool, I think that's everything that encapsulates what I love about Olivia Smith. She grabs the ball, takes on three, drops them all, drives into midfield, into the attacking third, and just whips it low driven. And look, the persistence, the skill, the eye for goal, it's just everything that I love, and it helps that it's against her old side, but it's just easily my goal of the season. It's so Smithy and so Arsenal.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good goal. It's
not a screamer, but
no. I think the hardest part of that goal is not the goal. It's the getting into the space into that and making Liverpool at that time, who were starting to get their rocks into shape and like forming an actual defensive parent. Yeah, exactly. And beating Folk at the near post from that distance is never easy, regardless of like the nature of the strike. Like I think aesthetically, you would say that the LCL strike is probably superior, and also beating Lete is also not an easy thing to do, and leaving her rooted at the spot, like that's just masterful football. I mean, I wanted to mention some of the other noms that they put in just because I thought it was funny. But I mean, Jess Park versus LCL. I mean, she scored a better goal in the Champions League basically like a few days. I mean, she did score a better goal for City that she didn't get Player of the Season for. By the way, they gave it to Viv, right? They gave it to Viv for that strike, which was wrong. That was wrong too. They're 0 for 2 in the last 2 seasons. But Mimiki versus Chelsea, very, very competent strike against Hannah Hansen from distance. Yeah, 2-time Golden Glove winner Hannah Hansen. Am I right?
They go for bangers. I feel like
they do. No, but that I'm glad that one got nommed. The same way I'm glad that Liv Smith got nommed and Una Siren for that strike in West Ham. But there is a funny theme to all these nominations, is that not one of them was one of our 62 goals this season. How did we score 62 goals and they decided, wow, not one of them is deemed worthy enough for a nom? And you know what? Is it because Bunny scores a lot of headers? Yeah. Fine, I get it. I do get that, right? But I just wanted to mention a few of our goals that I thought are worthy of a shout. So Hempo in the Manchester derby, that strike was top left corner, stanch, like postage stamp. The ball is dead still as well. You could argue that the defense is kind of poor there. I would argue that we're playing United and you can't choose who you face. But it is a Manchester derby nonetheless, and that was to make it 3-0. And then in the reverse fixture, Viv and Caspi's goals, not necessarily brilliant finishes, but the build-up play in those two goals kind of like highlight Yeglet's ball to the perfect tenure. Like that is the school of Yeglet's, the transitional ball, Bunny's improvements in playing with her back to goal, Viv's the specifically the Caspi goal, Viv's lofted ball to Hempo is just outside of the foot. It's like it is perfection. That is, I mean, it's ultimately like the pass to assist of the season in that way. Like that's that XA and that XGA and like all that stuff. But we have Bunny's goal versus Villa, which is also amazing, the dropping the defender. Bunny, when she made Gurma look like a school child. Yep, US women's national team captain getting absolutely bodied to death, like get absolutely wrecked, get smacked up by Bunny. And she's just left on the floor while Bunny knocked her over. And that's just like phantasmagorical. And then I mean, I couldn't leave out Carolyn. Carolyn ran half the length of the pitch and then chipped Hannah Hampton for her brace and then ended up with a hat trick in that 5-1 demolition derby in the Etihad against Sonia's bomb. Like that was just that goal is probably my favorite aesthetically, especially the ferocity, the aggression to get that ball to Carolyn and then for her to run the length of the pitch basically from before halfway and then not get caught and then have the audacity to chip Hampton. It is just sublime football. I think for me, like obviously the moment, the feelings, obviously there's different ones like the Kanak goal, the Iman Bene goal, but I think there are not many other footballers in this league who could do that Carolyn goal the way she did that.
No, I think the same with Olivia Smith, and I think that's what makes these two goals respectively our top goals, because I think that they're idiosyncratic or very unique to the player that they are. And I think that you mentioned a lot of City goals, but I think that what happens when you score so many goals, I think this is what we'll talk about with
clumped.
With Barcelona.
They get clumped.
You get clumped and you can't really distinct what was 8 goals, what was 2 goals. It's the Bunny Shaw is
12-1 and they're all trash.
Bunny Shaw is so consistent. It's like it's a catalogue of fantastic goals. So
I do agree with that. But we're going to do our last award for the WSL, which is the game of the season. The game of the season. I mean, is there any potential? I mean, I have in my head it is one. There is one that stands out above the rest. Yes, there are moments. Yes, there are exciting things that happened in this season and some absolutely fun games that we can mention. But is there anything that really truly compares to the brilliance of City v Arsenal at the Etihad?
And I think that it's very easy for me to go for a game that saw Arsenal win. I'm thinking of the City game at the Emirates. But if I'm being objective, this is the best game of the season, and ultimately the one that decided the season all the way back in round 5. It was entertaining, obviously, and it had some of our best moments from the likes of Chloe Kelly, from the likes of Kasparai, from the likes of Bene at the end. But I think what it most showcased in 90 minutes was tactical brilliance, incredible managing,
and
big
pure, like the best football, best football,
pure football moments, pure big game moments, and ultimately like the thing that football encapsulates so well, heartbreak and complete adulation. I think we
and
saw
trauma.
Not trauma. I'm fine. It's
You're
fine.
okay. You're okay.
I
can tell you there are players that are not the same after that game.
Chloe Kelly. But no, I think from an Arsenal perspective, that game is the best because it challenged us the most. And I think that there are other games that, yes, we drew so many. And like I can say the Tottenham 0-0 was incredibly challenging.
The best game of the season was definitely both legs against United.
Definitely. Love
the North London derby.
But I think you would say it as well from the winning perspective. It is the most football that we got this season, which felt traditional rivalry, which felt like there was something to play for, something to earn.
It was the most nervous. It was the most. That was the most insane like feelings going through. Like, yes, there are meme games. There are fun games. Like you could put Tottenham 7-3. Yeah, you can put the even the Tottenham United game. That was the 3-3. That was a ripper game. It was an unbelievable game. And then there was the Chelsea Villa game that was 4-3 with the last minute goal. That was fantastic too. There's some really, really good games that have happened this year. Even games that are lower scoring that I thought were kind of impressive.
Everton beating Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there are. I mean, even Liverpool drawing with Chelsea, that 1-1 as well with Beata Olsen, and that period of time when they were getting better in the process. But it is that game that, like, for City at least, I mean, it's hard to look past the feelings of how it made me feel, but that game was the most stressful, the most nerve-wracking, the most camaraderie, where I felt like there was a potential for us to win the league if we kept playing like that. Obviously, you don't get that every week, and there are games where you're going to draw to Villa or you're going to lose to Brighton, and that's the WSL. It's not a league you can just stomp all over. Like, wasn't the game that decided the league, but that was the game that decided that there was a potential that we were gonna actually do it, yeah, and we were actually gonna decide that was an option, not like regress to the Chelsea stuff, regress to Arsenal, who've been knocking on the door for nigh on a decade now, and are gonna get there at some point, and you just get busy knocking, but eventually it'll be a game where it's the reverse fixture, and you know that Arsenal are going to come out swinging, and we will give them a game, but they will make that mark and be like, you know what, you guys are really good, but we are greater. And that's when you get those moments and feelings of like, oh my God, okay, the football isn't just the best game of the season. Football is evolving in the WSL, and that's the thing, is that women's football is exponential growth. It gets better year on year, which is what makes it so special. And that game was an encapsulation of, like, I don't know, that's kind of the first game I would show someone now if they'd never watched the WSL. That's a pretty good game to start with, I think. Ultimately, yes, you can go back to the Kiara Keatings and Sockgate, and all the rubbish.
Really.
Yeah, exactly. It is payback for a lot of history in the sport, but it's also just in some ways the highest of levels that we are potentially going to be reaching for the next few seasons. But that, I believe, is all we have for the WSL team of the season, and that is all we have for part 1 of the podcast.